Dianne Feinstein has a lot of nerve to actually go before Congress and complain about Kavanaugh's behaviour when she's the one that set him up. She's the one that had the information for 2 months, sat on it, and then it somehow got leaked to the press, but she doesn't know how it got leaked. And then she didn't ask her staff. And then in the actual hearing, she turns around and says, "Did you leak it? Did you leak it?" No, they said they didn't leak it. It's an absolute farce. She's been completely exposed, and now she needs to be dealt with. There needs to be an investigation into her. Forget the investigation into Kavanaugh. What about Ford? What about Dianne Feinstein? This is really serious because these people have destroyed democracy. They've allowed mob rule, There's no proof of any of the things that Dr. Ford was saying, and yet we automatically have to assume she's right because she's a woman. And the mob dictate it, And as soon as Lindsey Graham announced his intentions, he was assaulted in the corridor by these leftists, by these agitators, by these mobs that the media gets behind and says are credible. I'm sure they pretty much pay people. There was actually money changing. There was actually someone handing someone an envelope during that hearing, and they said it was just stationery, but we know it's money. We know it's happened before, where basically Soros money has changed hands right outside the doorway. This is a corrupt conspiracy, and it's just been revealed in front of everyone. It's been played like theatre, in front of everyone, for everyone to see. Which is what they wanted, what the Democrats wanted. They wanted trial by media. They wanted mob rule. That's why they openly dox people all the time, so that people will attack them, so that they will be silenced and bullied and everything, because they use their useful idiots, they use the mob, the leftists, etc., to actually intimidate people and attack them. That's democracy now. And if you're a man, you're guilty by accusation alone. That's equality now. People criticising Kavanaugh for breaking down and having to actually... I criticised them for actually asking him personal questions, like having to answer questions about what your sex life was like when you were in high school 30 years ago or whatever. Shouldn't have to answer that. It was a trial by media. It was to discredit someone so that they would speak up, so they would speak in ways that weren't becoming of that forum, according to Dianne Feinstein, and now she's the one that's saying that his behaviour was unacceptable. When she's the one that had the information for 2 months and somehow it got leaked to the press, but she says she didn't leak it. She was emphatically trying to say that she didn't leak it all the time because we know that she did. We know that one of her staff did. Probably one of the people behind her advising her. We know they had information that they wanted to destroy Kavanaugh's possibility of being nominated, in the first place, because they were so worried about things he'd said in the past that they were worried he was going to reel in the deep state. They were worried that Hillary's definitely worried that she's going to be swinging from a noose, as she wrote about. Because the confirmation of Kavanaugh, leads to basically the Pfizergate investigation getting properly investigated. With Jeff Sessions, it's not going to. But, if certain governments get in, then they appoint their judges, then the law bends into their favour, basically, and then things get exposed, and it doesn't become as controversial to expose it. Whether the media does or not is another story, because the media is globalist propaganda. But at least Trump has exposed that. At least now they're exposing themselves all the time. Because it's okay for them to have their paid activists, their hired agitators, to just shout at someone in the corridor. The same thing with Jeff Flake. He was approached by people in the lift. CNN were filming it all. Oh, how very convenient. Yeah, because CNN never fakes things, do they? And now he wants to delay the process so they can bring 100 more women forward and find things on his computer. Kavanaugh said that he wanted to actually address the issue straight away so that there wouldn't be this chance to have this media circus and his family have death threats and everything be demonised and his reputation ruined, etc. But they insisted on delaying the hearings for like 9 days or something. So they insisted on destroying his reputation. They insisted on holding the information before releasing it now when it would do the most damage politically. That's Feinstein that did that. She released it to all intents and purposes. It was one of her staff, but it is essential that these people need removing, investigating, and then possibly arresting.